A Destrian Network production. Every day I'm struggling. What?
Not again. Not again.
Oh no. You stupid little fuck!
Little dog.
No, you can't kill me in the door. The dream's not going.
Hashtag I did try.
Every day I'm struggling.
You're listening to The Struggle is Wheel, the premiere Wheel of Struggle fancast.
With your hosts, Mr. Mattington and Garlips.
Wheel of Struggle.
Hello and welcome to The Struggle is Wheel, episode 4.
We made it to an arbitrary number.
We did indeed, and we will properly celebrate by doing absolutely nothing out of the ordinary in just a few short moments. But first...
Yes, first.
This week we're talking about Resident Evil Remake, which of course brought with it a certain amount of hubbub, shall we say. So, yes, we'd like to start by addressing the elephant in the room. Mr. Matt?
Yeah, could you clear off, please, mate? Mad props for you not only getting a working PC, but also getting access to the internet. For an elephant, that's pretty impressive, but we're here to talk about our podcast, yeah? So, Shu, do one, mate.
We need to make this thing more secure. This keeps happening far too often.
Far too often, mate. Far too often. You need to stop it.
So, what have we been up to this week? Mr. Matt, why don't you start us off there?
We both ended up doing runs at Horror Ibble Games, and that was a lot of fun. It was all very, very entertaining. I think people enjoyed, our dynamic on our 50 cent run. I mean, it was my 50 cent run, but basically people ended up understanding that although you were the host, you were also the commentator, the joke teller, the entertainment, the overall star of the show, other than 50 Cent. But yeah, it was a jolly good time. Yeah.
I prefer to feel about it as I was the DJ Woo Kid to your 50 Cent.
Yeah.
I was there to support you and help you through doorways and up ramps and stuff.
That's all the co-op partner is for, isn't it? Just, oh look, there's a door. Like, do you think 50 Cent could lift this up? I mean, look at the size of those guns. Yeah, no, he definitely needs DJ Woo Kid for this as well. He needs DJ Woo Kid to help open that door. Like, it's so stupid.
I think we came to the conclusion that G might stand for geriatric unit because I kind of want to stay stair unit as well, but that's not quite. It's stair lift, stairwell.
Standard stair lift
unit. Yeah. There were plenty of jokes as well. It was great fun.
It was.
We also. Oh, sorry.
No. It was a lot of fun. Like, a lot of people seemed to really enjoy the run, and then we ended up having something that I think you were going to end up just discussing there.
Yes, the sausage hunter race, and I just want to say I'm gonna do the thing, and it's the thing you're not supposed to do, but I'm gonna break the kayfabe just for a second. Okay,
whoa.
So here's the kayfabe, and I've twisted it in half because Mr. Matt, that was an absolutely exceptional display in the race. I won by, I think, maybe a whole second, maybe less. Honestly, it felt like frames, and it was really, really close. I actually died more times than you did as well.
Yeah, I think it was just my hesitance, not wanting to die, ended up costing me. I should have just YOLO'd it on a few bits, but that would have ended up securing me a victory. And I think we've gotten the word of Sausage Hunter out there a little bit more now, and I think more people are itching to play it. So, just quickly, Dev. Right, I know that it's 3 of you, and it's basically you guys just want to make a quick bit of money. But seriously, charging 24 quid, well 25 quid for a game that is 7 levels with 4 enemies, not hordes of enemies, false advertising, just all that nonsense is just ridiculous. You are literally just the worst people. Until you reduce that price, I'm going to think of you in the same breath as Harold Shipman, yeah?
It's harsh, but it's fair.
It is.
Good friend of the of both of us and of HiG fame, Kuno, sent me today that there's a website you can buy keys from for Sausage Hunter, and you can still get them at a very reasonable price. They're just over £1 each.
Ooh.
And while I was on that page, which I may invest in, maybe 5-6 keys later on this month and proliferate them amongst my friends.
Oh my god, are we going to have our first giveaway on the podcast?
We should, yeah. If you are watching this podcast and you want a key for Sausage Hunter, because they are expensive, just put your name on a stamped addressed envelope, chuck it in the post box. Don't worry, the postman will do the rest, and yeah, you could win a code. But it was on this website where it listed, it had some of the criteria that describes the game, I guess, that it must have got from Steam or something. But listed in the bullet points was puzzles.
Yeah.
And I sat there for a good 2 minutes charitably, maybe the act of shooting the cactuses out of the way is kind of like... But then I was like, no. And it took about 2 minutes of deliberation before I was like, why are you even giving these people the time of day?
I think the puzzle element is the bit where you have to end up shooting twice at the start of a level to end up knocking out the 2 bubbles and they bounce back. The bit where you have to switch direction because it's like, oh yeah, you think you're going to have to go one way, but then it goes, no, haha, and jukes it to the other one. That's the only examples of puzzles that I can think of in this game. The bits where it tries to trick you up with like bubble placements. Yeah, the bit where there's 3 bubbles at the start of the level and you have to pop 2 but not pop the one in the middle, because if you do that you can't get the return route. That's as charitable as I can be for puzzles in this game.
It's close, but it will never beat the biggest puzzle of all, which is show your working, Dev. How does it justify 25 quid? It doesn't.
It really doesn't. Like, it's 7 levels, 4 snails. What the hell do the snails even mean? What do they mean?
Hordes of snails, Mr. Matt. 2 in one level and 2 in the other.
2 snails in the goo. 2 snails in... No, I'm not going to finish that one. But the game is poo.
It is. Moving on from Sausage Hunter, which I know you're all clamouring to hear about, but we need to talk about the Wheel of Struggle.
No. There's one thing we got to talk about. One more thing. I wasn't the only one who ended up having a run at HiG. We ended up having a race. Oh. But what did you do at HiG?
So I got a sweet piece of American tail. That's what I did.
Oh my!
Yeah, I Fievel, everyone's favourite SCP character that doesn't blink and stares directly into your soul. I ran him through the old 6 levels again. Came in, I think, about 9 seconds over PB, which I will take in a marathon every day of the week. That's not bad at all. Find myself at HiG playing these questionable games. But I wouldn't have it any other way. In fact, if you know about even more questionable games, just tell me. And maybe I'll start running those too.
Well, it was a great run, but I want to end up pointing out one thing. American Tail has 6 levels. Sausage Hunter has 7. Better value for money?
Fundamentally, I guess, yes. However, an American Tail probably launched at a budget price that honestly is lower than the price of Sausage Hunter now. I'm talking like, in the early 2000s money that's worth far more than money is worth now. Also, you get a nice blue box with it, a little printed inlay. You get a manual.
Oh my!
And a disc. The full trimmings, the full works. Sausage Hunter is just digital. It exists in the cloud. It's here today and gone tomorrow.
Thankfully.
So, don't worry, I'm backing it up right now.
I think we've both got copies of it, and we're waiting for it to end up, crashing horrifically, and then we can end up trying to revive it as a proper speedrun again.
Yeah, it does check for Steam DRM. Oh. I've managed to work that much out, so that's why I'm now looking at the key site. Oh, by the way, Kuno also bought the game, so we'll see.
Not at full price.
No, at just over $1. It comes. I think I put it in my basket. I think it comes to, with sales tax for the UK, it comes to £1.34 currently. Jeez. Now at that price, I'm willing to buy 5 codes.
No, don't buy it. Don't, please, God, no. We can't. I know that
We need more blood! We need more lifeblood in the scene!
we need more people to review it to end up saying this is terrible. Like, this is literally awful.
Yeah, but the only way to do that is to buy it on Steam, so that's not good.
No.
You can review it on this site, though, so...
No,
yeah.
once you activate it on Steam, you can just review it.
Oh, of course you can!
Yeah.
Why did... Garlips, it's been a long day for your old pal Garlips.
How do you think people who end up reviewing games do the reviewies? Do you think they buy every game? No, they get sent the keys by the devs.
Look, I don't know how to explain this any clearer. I put my all into practicing Sausage Hunter to the point that I removed very important parts of my brain to make space.
You won, but at what cost?
At what cost? Well, I get to say I won. I guess that's pretty much it.
Well, you know what this means? It means that eventually we're going to have a fight on one of these fighting games so that I can get a win, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe we could do that at some point. Some point in the far future, sort of like maybe after, you know, we lose power and TVs don't work anymore, technology doesn't work anymore. We're living in a feudal system based around trying to grow plants to sustain ourselves while nuclear fallout destroys us all from the outside.
Cheery.
But of course, we've spent enough time waffling. It's time to move on to Resident Evil Remake. Well, as we've now arrived at the putrefied flesh of this episode, so to speak, it's time for my new investigative journalism section, the Garlips Press.
This isn't in the show notes, mate. What are you doing?
The Garlips Press! You can't stifle my journalism. Good evening, and welcome to the Garlips Press. Now, have you ever had a spirit-crushing, soul-molecularizing event happen to you? Well, I did this week, when I discovered to my abject horror that by being bestest and fastest and handsomest at the wheel, I still walked away with only second place. Can they do that to me? To me? Don't they know who the fuck I am? What if they come for all of your first places? Aside from Deck being forced to walk into the sea as punishment, I feel the council should intervene.
Wait. I feel like the Garlic Press might be a little biased. It is on Cox News after all. Is it possible we could seek out alternative news and facts that describe events in, shall we say, a more even-handed and less jokey manner?
Okay, fine, but there will probably be some jokes. Our demo loves them.
They don't.
Our demo lies and says they love them. Welcome to Deep, Hard Investigations. I'm Sirius Mann. Ah, the games of children. They can conjure images of absolute joy, like the first time you beat Final Fantasy VII, or images of absolute terror, like the time you sat so long playing Final Fantasy VII that you pissed yourself. To young and good-looking guy Garlips this week, it meant both. The Wheel chose Resident Evil HD, a game he sincerely loved and knew he was good at. Good times, good vibes, but then it all turned to piss anyway. Confusion reigned for at least 5 sequential minutes. So much so that the government this week published its full findings in their inquiry as to what happened. According to this, it was a big mess. Here are the facts. The wheel for Return of a Legend 2 was spun, and Resident Evil HD was selected. Previously, the challenge had focused around Jill, so this time it naturally gravitated to Chris. Both challenges' rules can be seen here, and Dekiev, the original rule diviner for the Season 2 Resident Evil submission, appeared to draw heavily on the previous rule set, favouring progress through the game's locations and puzzles over things like death or time. Now it must be pointed out that certainly the norm when it comes to wheel challenges is progress over time. In fact, Dekiev, who here is represented by the devil from Cuphead for no ulterior reason, himself admitted that it was a trend that this rule set hoped to break, to provide a different kind of challenge. Issues of taste aside as to whether deaths should trump time, the rule set clearly stated that the number of deaths would be taken into account before time spent in the game. Were the rules edited after initial posting? Yes, the rules were edited, but this was due to a mistake in their typing surrounding the bosses in the game. Before starting his run, Garlips noted that one boss was listed twice under its two common names, Prototype 1 and Elder Crimsonhead. They're both the same enemy. This is a mistake. However, an honest one. There was ultimately no fallout from this typo. However, some would later chastise Garlips for mentioning the rules were wrong when he was technically correct, and those people are technically doo-doo heads. Did Garlips just read the rules wrong? Actually, no. Garlips read and understood the rules, so much so that he pestered Deck over the minutiae of the rule set so as not to scupper his own chances of a first place. He confirmed with Deck over DMs not only that Chris would have to let Richard die to be able to have Rebecca solve the V-Jolt puzzle, but also that Love and Floofen had indeed done this in their playthrough, which was already submitted. Garlips made it clear to Deck that he was gunning for a first place, and while mentions of time were made, "Should you solve this puzzle or save time by skipping it" was a phrase uttered on the Discord. It was an easy thing to overlook. So, did Garlips overlook the deaths thing? Again, no. Garlips is never wrong. We have video evidence here at roughly 2 hours, 35 minutes and 20 seconds into Garlips' VOD, this happens. Whoa! Oh my god. That's it. That's a death.
Watch this, Lise. You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half.
Nuts.
And now.
Does that actually fuck me for beating Floof now? Because I don't think Floof put down any deaths. Did you hear that? Garlips certainly knew what that death meant. Does that sound like someone who doesn't understand rules? However, now see these comments from moments later. There indeed was confusion amongst certain chatters in his chat about the deaths trumping time. Later on in the stream, others came into the stream who had not seen the death and would add to the building hype that perhaps Garlips had got himself a first place. This wealth of confusion is believed to have arisen from, as we have now discussed, the general trend of the Wheels challenges favouring time over deaths in nearly all instances, the emphasis in certain comments about saving time, even though time was the least important metric in the rule set, the fact that the rules had to be edited for unrelated reasons, and chatters dipping in and out of a stream and missing the death in question. This confusion was not imagined, it really happened. But ultimately, the findings conclude that no one here was actually to blame. Deck's rules were clear, save a typo. Garlips knew deaths were important. His chat had some confusion over the rules. If anyone is to blame, it is the shadowy council that rule from on high with no oversight, with a poor health and safety record, and a somewhat to moderate stench emanating from whichever scummy divot they call home. I will blow this council wide open. I'm collecting evidence now. I'm wearing a wire, and if I suddenly disappear one day, know that I have a strict aversion to suicide. Council, Sirius Mann is coming for you. I accept the findings of the inquiry, and moving forward, we'll continue to not only read the rules in a healthy amount of times, but I will also seek clarification on any issues as soon as confusion arises. Sorry I got really salty back there. It was my first time.
Garlips popped his disappointment cherry, and now he is slouching through continued existence like the rest of us. Just waiting for everything to get never better, only worse. Welcome on in there, buddy. As for me and my experiences with the Spencer Mansion, well, it was a bit of a rough one for me. Things started well. Things started really, really well. I ended up getting through the first chunks of the mansion pretty quickly. And then I ran up against the fact that I never do certain things in the original Resident Evil, such as get the shotgun as Chris, never defeat Yawn in the mansion, in the top of the mansion. I never do that. I know you probably don't do that either. Why would you just grab the death mask, get the hell out of there? That's more efficient than anything else.
I literally had the trophy pop for killing Yawn one.
Same here. It's on both of our streams. You can see that we didn't do that ever before, because, well, why would you? You don't need to do that.
Yeah, you get some free shotgun shells, you take the mask, you leave.
Yeah, but why do anything else? And especially with Chris, where you've got more limited space, and he's a big boy. You don't want to be in that room with Yawn because his hitbox is bigger, meaning that it's easier for him to get poisoned. Why would you ever do that? So yeah, that kind of tripped me up. But once I got to a certain point where I was like, right, okay, well that's my position on the leaderboard secured. I can't technically get any higher than this, because there was a point where the only way that I could have ended up beating anyone else would have been to do everything and end up coming under time, and it's at that point it wasn't happening. I was just like, no, that's it. I can it fit within my usual time scale of a run of one of my sofa streams, but I knew that there wouldn't be any further progress up the board if I continued playing, so I was just like, no, that's cool. We've had a stream, it's been good. Let's call it a day.
Decky had the same thing where at the end he was fighting to finish the run, even though he was locked into third place at that point. We're not going to go into the scoring again, but I do feel like it did reward perfection, and I don't think rewarding perfection is necessarily what you should be doing on the Wheel of Struggle, because some people this is their first time ever with Resident Evil, and for others it's been a long time. But that's the way it goes. I certainly know that I put forward Silent Hill 4 for next season. Now, whether it gets picked or not, that's in the hands of the council, and that's fine. But I think when I was scripting out the notes and the rules for that, I was very kind of clear in my head. I was like, deaths, we're not even going to record deaths. It's just not going to be an issue. There's no way that anyone will get to a certain point at the exact precise second as someone else. So we're not going to record deaths. I'm not going to punish people for deaths. We need to move on again.
But how did you find the game overall? Was it nice to end up coming back to RE HD, as it's actually called, rather than RE Remake? Because it's weird.
It is weird, the naming thing, but yeah, I'd genuinely just call it RE HD, I think. Although it is just remake, so I mean, just with a nicer, bumped up and HD and stuff. But yeah, I had a good time. I really thought about my run before I did it, because I've played Resident Evil Remake, I've played Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 4, to the point where, honestly, with maybe a few errors or faults here and there, I would be able to, literally picture every screen, every room. So, and certainly the Spencer Mansion layout is completely burned into my brain. So I really gave it some thought, and I thought, okay, if I go over here, I'm gonna butt up against too many things to pick up at once. So I was really trying to tailor my equipment to make sure that I didn't have to double, backtrack and go back to the box and stuff too many times. I still did have to in the end for certain reasons, but I really tried to kind of picture that in my mind before it began. Yeah, it went really smoothly. I mean, the one thing I will take away from it is, that I was the fastest, and that was with the death. So, I mean, I'll take that. At the end of the day, I was probably a bit careless with that death. There were 2 hunters in there, and I decided to stand my ground when I really should have just run the fuck out of there. But you live and learn, much like Crush 40 sang in Sonic Adventure 2.
Rest in peace, Crush 40.
I miss them every day.
So do I. Where did they go? They must have gone to their home planet again. But anyways.
They did. They even had a song called Watch Me Fly.
They did indeed.
So they just soared off into the distance, never to be seen again.
I will remember them. Ish. Well, at least for a little while, and then they'll fade from my memory. And then I'll play Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Adventure 1 when they end up re-releasing those as a 4K double pack, you know, in 5 years' time or so.
Yes, Sonic Adventure Origins. Buy the same thing again for $25.99, and if you want extra characters, you gotta pay for them.
Oh, finally, they're gonna have
Sega.
They're gonna have playable Big the Cat in Sonic Adventure 2.
He's in Sonic Adventure 2. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, he's the eerie creature that's always watching you. Like he's the watcher of Sonic Adventure. He's during the lorry chase, he's on like he's running with you, isn't he, on one of those bits?
He's on the side of the road, yeah.
There's also bits where he's just up in the balconies somewhere. He's in the background of like various different scenes. Like he's fishing in some of them. Like he's there watching all of the characters, which means that he has the ability to jump between different times at his own leisure, because multiple events of Sonic Adventure 2 are all happening at the same time. And if he's there in one place, he's there in another place at the same time. How does he do it?
I think I can speak for all of us when I say that Big the Cat is the smoking man figure of the Sonic Adventure world.
I would say he's the Horace Hogan, but there's only a few people who would get that. Horace Hogan, the nephew of Hulk Hogan, who they brought in and said, he is the key to the NWO. He wasn't the key to the NWO. He was nothing. Anyways. So I think ultimately with Resident Evil, we had a fairly good time. It was nice to come back to it after all of these years. It was nice to, you know, run around the Spencer Mansion again, see the horror, discuss some things again. Like a lot of people didn't know about the hallway with the dogs, the fact that if you go the other way, that's when they'll jump in. If you only go through it one way, that's it, they'll never jump through. Yeah. The red gem, which when I was talking about it, I thought, no, like you ended up saying, no, it's for the puzzle box, and I was like, oh yeah. But there's definitely something that tricks you with it in Resident Evil Remake. Like, there is definitely something that tricks you up with that, and it's like, oh yeah, if you put it into the tiger head, it will drop snakes on you, rather than the original one, where it doesn't actually do that. So I thought I was going mad until I ended up looking it up and going, no, it really is that. They purposefully switch them around to trick you.
It honestly, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Resident Evil Remake is one of the few examples where I do not feel the need to ever play the original again, unless, you know, for some reason I'm on a nostalgia kick and I want to do that. Because every conceivable part, in my eyes at least, was improved. There's no downside to playing that version, so that's the way I see it anyway. Yeah. But I really did like this revisit as well, because it reminded me that I actually want to platinum it. There are a couple modes that are really interesting. There's real survival mode where the boxes aren't linked.
Yeah.
So I want to try for that next, because I think that's too much harder than before. The problem is I tend to use one main save room anyway, which is the one in the stairwell on the east side of the mansion. So I'd probably just stick to using that one. And then, of course, there is invisible enemy mode as well.
Yeah, that one seems like... I've seen it a lot, and I know that there's an achievement tied to it. But it's just, I know that one is seriously, like, you have to have your fighting game chops on point and be able to understand sound cues, because Resident Evil is a fighting game. As much as Garlips doesn't think it is, it really is.
We can agree to disagree on this, but I do think you raise some interesting points that definitely are in favour of that argument. Absolutely, because you know, they're invisible or iframes, not invisible, invincible. Sorry, it's because the end. And you know, there's quick reaction times. There's things that you can press to get out quicker. Like if you mangle the stick, supposedly it gets you out of the zombie grab / bite quicker. Things like that. There's also
wind-up animations, there's reactions that you have to look out for, hitbox data, like every character has a certain amount of hitbox that is within them, and it's like that ends up to that determines a lot of stuff for contact damage and like whether or not a grab is successful or not. There's loads and loads of little things that are like, oh, this is from a fighting game. It's like, and that's why I agree that, you know, Resident Evil, a lot of it is a fighting game, and if you understand fighting games, you can carry that across, which is why 16-bit Hyper Turbo, why does he... he shouldn't have used a fight stick for this one, but he did. Bless him. Bless the lad.
16-bit streams are the best. I think I made a joke, I can't remember which stream it was of his, but I was like, mate, if you take a fight stick and you take another fight stick and you like glue them together and shrink it down a bit, you end up with one of these.
Well, I know that he loves stick fight sticks. So why doesn't he just end up building his own custom one with two fight sticks? So they've literally got 2 sticks on there, and he can end up twiddling those two bits, and then he can end up oh god, you could end up doing it with those thrustmasters. You know, the ones that the joysticks were like that with the trigger buttons on there. You could do that with that, and end up having left trigger, right trigger. Oh mate, now I'm
I think 16-bit. If you want to own season 5, mate, I think you got to break out the Franken sticks.
I seriously think that will be the best idea. I do also want to end up saying Tater ended up having some of the best reactions. Like he was bricking it, wasn't he?
I can't remember who it was, but someone made a supercut of all of the kind of the highlights or lowlights, depending on how you want to look at it. I can't remember who it was, so if you can find that out.
I do believe. Let me just have a quick goosey up in here.
You know what? If I find it in post, I'll put it down there. Thank you, whoever that was who made the video. Good job. If I don't find it, then I guess we'll never know.
We will never know. But you'll never know if you don't go. No. Never shine.
Exactly. Words to live by. And do you know what else is poetry? Apart from Smash Mouth's All-Star.
Oh, what?
It is Haiku Corner.
Haiku!
Haiku! I think that leads us to your haiku.
Okay. Here we go. Wesker in a tub, cleansing his tainted spirit, evil washed away.
Wow. What an image.
Oh, what?
I mean, a mental image of Wesker in the tub, cleansing his taint. That's what you said. I think that's what you said. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, we were talking about while we were playing the game how much of a Chad Wesker is until the inevitable betrayal, sort of like 10 minutes from
what? He betrays you?
Yeah, apparently he does.
No.
I mean, none of us had ever played Chris's campaign before, but yeah, he turns on Chris.
Oh, see, that I thought Chris turned on him. That's why he was so angry at him at the end of Resident Evil 5. That's why he comes out of the lava and goes, Chris!
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, he was also punching boulders at him. That might have had something to do with it as well.
Yeah,
But Wesker, good guy Wesker, fixes the doorknob in the fucking stairwell. He gives you shells and first aid sprays. He's an all-round good geezer until the sudden but inevitable betrayal.
He spends ages shooting at wasps.
That's also true.
So he's doing great.
And he fights Lisa Trevor for you as well.
That is true as well. See, he does a lot. Like, okay, he might have created Lisa Trevor and ended up having her cursed existence, forever taint his soul. But, at least he ended up trying to help you out, like, getting rid of her. At least he tried something at the end.
Yeah. I mean, if we're counting all the stuff I just listed in the pro column, and we have to put Lisa Trevor's haunted existence and also betrayal in the other column, I still think the pro column's winning.
Really? I think also making a big naked man with a heart beating out of his chest. I think that will probably go... Actually, that could probably go in the middle, because that's pretty cool, but it's also...
That's just Wesker following his dreams, You gotta have dreams.
I just really want to end up making a big naked man. It's like, okay, Wesker, you go ahead, mate.
Yeah, see, that's the problem was, Wesker didn't realise, in creating the naked man with the big heart on his chest and everything, he learned from his father that betrayal is what you're supposed to do. See, if Wesker had just not betrayed us, I think Tyrant would have learned the true value of friendship.
Tyrant, big friend? Tyrant!
Tyrant happy. Reminds me of Ludo from Labyrinth.
Oh god.
Tyrant sad.
Tyrant eat sandwich? No, not the Jibble sandwich! What about your haiku?
Well, I've done a double stanza, as you know. I can't contain myself to one stanza.
Okay. Let's see it.
Here goes. Chris Normal, a breeze. Spencer Mansion, know it well. Fastest, with a death. Hopefully this leads to more horror on the wheel. My harvest of points. watch out. I want to get more horror on the wheel. So does Decky. I'm just hoping that the council sees fit to choose some of the horror games that have been put up for next time.
Well, you've got to go and ask for planning permission from the council, have you? Have you ended up going down to council offices, end up saying, oh, well, mate, can we get the council and end up getting in on this? Yeah, we want to get more horror games on the wheel, yeah. You're going to going down to the council, are you? You're going to go to the town hall, are you? Going to go and ask the council, yeah? That's what you're going to do? You're going to go ask the council, are you?
The council are, you know... I don't even know where the council headquarters are. So I wouldn't know where to begin to go down to sort them out or go to the office. So I guess I just kind of take it out on the people who are between us and the council.
You know, that is actually a really great question. Where is the council's main office? I think I might have to end up having a look into this, you know.
I think it could lead to you know, sort of like a long-running mention / in-joke saga that we establish now and we return to, you know, every other episode until we've built up a whole arc of, you know, where are the council offices and how do we get there?
I see. Well, we'll see if that ends up happening. But, yeah, let's,
Or we might not be asked at all.
It might be dropped. You'll have to tune in next time to end up finding out. So, I just want to end up saying a massive thank you for watching. Don't forget to end up giving this video a cheeky thumbs up if you so wish. Maybe even subscribe if you wish to. Don't forget to end up leaving a comment if you've played Resident Evil. I don't know, have you played Resident Evil? Why don't you tell us? Go in the comments and tell us if you've played it. I don't know. You tell us. Have you played it? Have you? Have you? Have you played the video game? Have you played it? But yeah, I think that's about it for now. Garlips, have you got anything you'd like to end up saying?
Penis on a horse.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Don't forget you can find Garlips at It's Garlips on a lot of other things.
Providing Twitter hasn't burnt down again in the in the interim. And of course you can find Mr. Matt Internet everywhere as at Mr. Matt Internet and twitch.tv/Mr. Matt Internet.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah.
Is there anything else?
No, not really.
Bye then.
Bye.
Every day I'm struggling. Every day I'm struggling. Hello and oh, you are in a trolley mood today. I'm gonna have to smack you.
What have I done now?
You just disappeared. You went like streamers running. Like the whole thing changed. I know you.
What? It should be fine.
Really?
No,
it went like all green for a second.
Oh no, no, I did. That wasn't me. I don't know what caused it.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Hang on a sec. I just had to.
Oh no. Is everything okay? Is everything okay?
Yeah, everything's fine. I'm just checking.
Yep, just checking on Indeed. New co-host for Struggle is Wheel. Needs someone who will follow directions exactly as I've written them.
Job listed.
Has no pay, but perks are conversations with me weekly. Oh, just very quickly, I was watching Channel 5 the other day. My daughter made me sign into the Channel 5 app on the TV. So I was like, oh, I'll have a little look through here. They had a Harold Shipman documentary, hence the Harold Shipman reference earlier. Because that's the...
He's on your mind,
yeah. It's the first one that jumps into my head. And it's like 5 mistakes that cause a killer and all this sort of stuff. And at the end of it, they go, Harold Shipman was only caught because he made these mistakes. And they listed each of his mistakes. And I was like, is that a challenge, Channel 5? Are you telling me, like, what he did wrong? Like, if you're going to do this, make sure you don't end up doing these things. Make sure that you end up using something that can dissolve easily in the blood and not be detected after death. Make sure that you end up understanding how file updates work. It's like, Channel 5, what the fuck? Like, I could not believe it.
Teaching serial killers. that has really O.J. Simpson. I didn't do it, but if I did, here's a book about it.
Yeah.
Energy, basically. Oh, I was gonna say I'm gonna have to check that, but I don't think I do want to. But yeah, that is kind of mind blowing that they've kind of got a notes at the end. Like, here's what it should.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law is super into all of those kinds of documentaries about serial killers and stuff, and I love her. God love her. But every time we go around, it's like, Mum, can we change the channel to a channel that doesn't like have a woman or two dying every like 30 minutes, and then being told about like how they tried to catch the guy and it, you know, it took ages and blah 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 blah.
It's not as bad as my dear old Ma's husband. He'll end up having GB News on, and he'll end up having like crime documentaries on in the middle of the day, and
Small human
running around, and it's like, mate, do you want to maybe not put that on the TV at the time? Like,
yeah, no, I think some people just don't have like that bone in their body that says like, a child is here right now. I need to be child appropriate, including things I put on the TV and stuff.
Oh.
In fact, it's such a strong thing for me that like now my nephew, who's now like 13, 14, and my nieces who are becoming actual like young women, they are like, I think the oldest one is 18 or 19, right? So the youngest is still like 13. We're reaching that point where like the stuff that they're into and the stuff they want to talk about is kind of like, it brushes up against that bone in my body, and I realise now why you made a funny face and a funny noise. It's because I mentioned having a bone in my body while I was talking about the children. We're going to move on now. This bit's at the end. Garlips went on to kill 17.
Anyways, we should probably end up continuing on before we get too distracted by other topics.
Yeah, but I feel like we got some good end stuff there.
Tyrant, eat sandwich? No, not the Jibble sandwich.
Tiger? Fuck. I've been watching 16-bit do Street Fighter 2, so like literally the other day it was just like Tiger.
Oh, please! I can't wait for Sagat to eventually appear in Street Fighter 6. He isn't in it at the moment.
Oh no! Is he coming though?
No.
Is he coming?
He's not coming up. He's not coming up. At least not in Season Pass 1. Whoa! Yeah. Season Pass 1 for Street Fighter 6 has only got 4 characters. Oh, one of them's Akuma.
Oh, see, yeah, I'm not familiar with Akuma because I'm guessing he was added later than Street Fighter 2 Basic, which is the only one I played.
Yeah, so with Street Fighter 2, there was a rumour for ages. Like, it was a video game magazine that ended up saying you must defeat. You've seen the Ryu win quote where he goes, "You must defeat Shang Long to end up standing a chance against me."
I'm familiar with that whole meme.
Yeah, the fact that it was a translation error. It was supposed to be the Shoryuken, and they botched it. It led rise to an April Fool's, and I want to say it was EGM, where they ended up saying to end up fighting Shenlong, you need to end up doing the following: 2 perfects, 2 great victories like that. You need to do finish them with a special move, no continues, every round 1. Like, so you can't drop a round. If you can do all of that, when you get to M Bison, it switches over and it replaces M Bison with Shenlong, and it was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So Capcom got wind of this over the years and ended up going, right, well, we're releasing a newer version of Street Fighter 2 now. So we've had Super Street Fighter 2. We're going to release a newer version, because they love to do that. And they actually put in an additional boss fight, where if you did all of that, at the end, M Bison would end up being just defeated instantly, and Akuma would just sweep in.
Nice.
So it would give you an even harder boss fight if you did all of that.
My moment was just after this. Instead of Street Fighter 2 and more combat and, you know, do this to see Reptile or do this to see whatever. For me, it was, here's a naked cheat for Lara that's never going to work no matter how many times you try. And also, there's a Mew under a truck in Pokemon Red and Blue, apparently.
That old classic. And then they actually ended up putting in, I think, like an elixir or something like that in Red and Blue, like Fire Red and Leaf Green. They ended up referencing that, and it's like, I love it when they end up going, right, okay.
I love it when they do, they acknowledge the rumors by, you know, things like the Konami code and stuff. I mean, just appreciating that gaming is an experience and that these memes are born of it, and then acknowledging those memes in future games is, well, it can be taught or it can be overdone. I cannot tell you the amount of times I've heard someone say fucking Jill sandwich in a Capcom game.
Oh.
But overall, it's pretty cool when it does show up.
But yeah, speaking of things that are cool when they show up, what about your haiku?
I'll find something.
Should I press stop recording?
Yes.